Oh boy, this is definitely one wild game to watch unfold in real time.
Influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
Yep, as the stakes couldn't get any higher right now, as a lot of people are talking about the possibility of World War III, NATO Article 5, as Donald Trump is answering back saying, you know what? Maybe we'll look at doing more economic ties with Latin America over Europe that is now ideologically opposed to all the core values of the United States, as there is one statesman that has been right throughout all of this that now finally is getting a lot of recognition to a lot of his ideas that are finally being implemented. And that, of course, is Dr. Ron Paul, Mr. No, a famous congressman that ran for the presidency of the United States. And we have a lot on that, specifically when it comes to looking at his larger legacy that he imprinted on all of us that looks like is really being funneled through in the larger kind of blueprint of the foreign policy of the United States. So right now, I think it's fair to kind of say here, there's a lot of hyperbolic, there's a lot of kind of emotional statements here. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of people don't realize, is a larger kind of ploy for negotiations. We have a lot of people on the left right now freaking out, calling Trump rude and evil, and he is just dumb and stupid. And when you look at previous kind of foreign policy endeavors, they don't really make any kind of strategic sense here. But looking at what Trump is trying to achieve here, there does look like there's a larger scheme, a larger plan here that is actually going to work out for almost everyone. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. As of course, the latest that we have from the breakdown of communications is that White House officials are now demanding that Zelensky apologize first before starting up the conversations potentially again.
There's quite a disconnect happening here at the White House and with their allies in Kyiv, because I have been told by a senior official here that nothing's going to happen with this minerals deal until Zelensky goes in front of cameras and makes an explicit public apology for the way that he behaved himself. Behaved in the Oval Office with that meeting.
Yeah, now, is Zelensky going to be doing that? There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of pride here, which there shouldn't be, as, of course, it's fair to argue that that probably won't be happening now, as Zelensky also is saying the quiet part out loud right now, specifically kind of hinting and pointing at what a lot of people are worried about, and that is this situation getting completely out of hand and out of control, which a lot of people say could happen at any moment, especially with these kind of heated talking points that do bring us on the precipice of potential worldwide destruction. Here's what Zelensky had to say.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight, because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying.
Yeah, very declarative, big, major statements here, as a lot of people are saying, yeah, he just said the quiet part out loud of what a lot of people are worried about, as the response to all of this has been by a lot of people online and a lot of politicians and analysts saying, we'll just leave NATO. As right now, Dr. Ron Paul, who has been advocating for this, specifically advocating for a non-interventionist foreign policy, specifically advocating for more peace, specifically advocating for bringing the troops home, and by the way, getting more support from the military than any other candidate during his presidential runs, highlights how a lot of the American people are sick of the old foreign policy that has been led by neoliberals and neoconservatives that essentially have been giving the military-industrial complex everything that they want on a silver platter, as well as the intel agencies free rein to disrupt, destroy any kind of real forms of democracy out there for their own pure beneficial gain and their controllers' gain. Now, Trump, say what you may about him, specifically when it comes to the stuff about Gaza and Greenland. We'll get into that in just a little bit here. But Ron Paul penned an article today saying suddenly leaving NATO is on the table, describing how over the weekend President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency head Elon Musk made quite a stir with just 2 words posted on his social media platform X, responding to a post saying that, quote, "It's time to leave NATO and the UN." Musk replied, "I agree. The comment immediately made the rounds on social media and also on mainstream media and alternative media. As of course, that idea, especially with Zelensky describing how, hey, the United States is going to have to fight Russia, made its round here. As a lot of people are saying, yeah, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we don't have nuclear powers exchange and be in a full frontal kinetic warfare with each other that would upend and destroy the planet many times over, as of course the military capabilities of these government, the weapons that they possess, not just nuclear. Nuclear's old. Nuclear's we're talking about decades old weapon systems. There are larger, more kind of crazier, insane, fifth generational forms of warfare. There's psychological, there's biological, there's so many other things. There's gene-specific weapons out there that a bunch of people can't even grasp their hands on. And once there's a full-on all war, all the rules, all the law off the table here, as we have Nicole Shanahan, a big proponent of RFK Jr., a big proponent of someone who was previously on the left here, now finally realizing, holy cow, I was wrong here all along. This guy, Ron Paul, was right here. And someone that's been in the kind of Ron Paul corner for over 10 years now. I mean, I remember even longer than that. I mean, I was talking about his kind of election run and kind of telling people about him and promoting him all the way back in, like, was it 2008? He was a man that has really been right all along, and individuals like Nicole Shanahan are actually realizing it. Before getting into her statement today that is resonating with a lot of people, showing us how Dr. Paul was right, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where you could get shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now, with a lot of prominent social media figures deleting you. We just had our YouTube video deleted, by the way, because of misinformation when talking about a Yale study. So clearly, censorship is still a real thing. I hope this future administration deals with it. It looks like they will be addressing it. But in the meantime, you know, one thing that can't be censored? Shirts. And when you wear them in grocery stores, at the banks, at your local markets, at your local parks, when you're going for your walks, the best thing you could do to not just do lazy forms of activism, but the best thing you can do in your life is have good relationships with people. And if you don't have a lot of relationships with people, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are lonely. A lot of people don't have any kind of friends. A lot of people don't know how to kind of communicate with each other. Everything's kind of online and fake and superficial and astroturf. There's fake online followers now. There's bots. There's sock puppet accounts run by governments trying to psyop you or trying to sell you stuff. Everything's all fake. Real life, human to human, eye to eye connection. So important, and definitely that's why I keep recommending go for a walk. Get a t-shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. You support this independent media network at the same time, but you also get to meet like-minded individuals. You also get to make friends. You also get to, of course, meet people that will be in your life potentially forever. Those friendships, those bonds could be forged with a simple shirt like this that says anti-government, pro-boob. I love all the shirts I have. We got a lot of funny ones. We got some funny ones we can't show you here because YouTube would take this video down. YouTube has been going after me pretty ridiculously. I made a joke about my dog and Democrats. YouTube got offended, literally took it down, and hit that video because I make jokes. Again, make all the jokes you want. Make all the inappropriate jokes you want on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Support this independent media network. Get out there. Get your voice heard. More importantly, become a lazy activist that actually does incredible work, but also meets like-minded, really cool people in your community. As clearly, a lot of people are losing their ish, but I think we are all coming home to realize Ron Paul was right. We have a Ron Paul shirt that's pretty epic, by the way. Let me try to see if I could find it here. And it says, "If I told you so," was a person. And that, of course, is Ron Paul. Yep. If I told you so was a person. Get the shirt right now. All you got to do, go to thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Here in the search thing, just put in Ron Paul, and then the shirt pops up. And this shirt right here couldn't be more truer by the day. I got to post this underneath Nicole Shanahan's post here. As she said, Ron Paul was light years ahead of the curve. While others succumbed to the military-industrial complex and neocon foreign policy, Dr. Paul never wavered. He was America first before it was mainstream. Love seeing President Trump channel the wisdom of a true legend. Absolutely. As Being Libertarian said, watching Ron Paul's 2008 philosophy being understood in 2025 by the current president is wild. And it is an idea whose time has come. And those ideas cannot be stopped, as he is saying, hey, we should stop worrying about Putin, and we should start worrying about ourselves. These larger kind of issues and tropes of actually taking care of ourselves, as he's tweeting out and sending out the messages of Ron Paul and this larger liberty, levolution, this larger kind of original Tea Party idea before it was hijacked by the Glenn Becks of our society, by the Sarah Palins of our society. This larger Tea Party freedom libertarian idea has come to fruition, and it is a beautiful frickin' time to be alive in order to see it. As, of course, Ron Paul, as truth by Donald Trump, said specifically, we need to worry about our borders here at home, not worry about the borders around the world and the borders between Syria and Iraq. That doesn't have anything to do with our national security. We have to deal with our own national security. Our military right now is in shambles because we've been stretched too thin. One of these days, we're going to have to wake up, and I'm afraid if we don't wake up until we go bankrupt, and we're approaching that time already, as Donald Trump seems to have gotten that download, and he is acting on it in very bombastic ways. Again, he's not the perfect non-interventionist. He's not the perfect peacenik. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's levy it here. Let's not try to sugarcoat all of this. But when it comes to a lot of his kind of grander, more bigger, more kind of empire-like ideas, a lot of people linking that to, of course, strategy, to negotiations, over bombastically going for something and then meeting kind of in the middle. So far, Trump's policy, especially when it comes to trying to end a lot of these wars, I think is absolutely critically important. Now, there's a situation in the Middle East that's still unfolding. That scenario is going to be a very big challenge for him, as his administration has kind of shown very kind of duplicitous messages when it comes to that. But overall, you compare. Listen here. Let's take our victories where we could get them. It's not perfect, but when you compare Trump's foreign policies to Biden's, to Obama's, to Bush's, he is way above, way better than all those other presidents combined, especially when it comes to kind of honing in our message, taking care of our people, and not trying to send our troops endlessly into foreign conflicts and battles for the pure benefit of some larger kind of demonic evil energies out there that want to just sacrifice human beings. He actually wants to end of the wars. He wants to make deals, and he wants to make deals favorable towards the United States, as this is the kind of larger foreign policy that has always been dreamed about. But now, finally, even though it's not the perfect vision here, even though it's not being officially kind of carried out in its kind of libertarian, most principled ways, it still is something to kind of look at right now, and I think appreciate, because the way that we're kind of moving forward, the way that Donald Trump is also saying, hey, look at what Europe is doing. Europe is being hypocritical. Europe is spending more money buying Russian oil and gas than they spend on Russian defense by far. He's not wrong by making those statements, by the way. The Europeans get their money back when they invest in Ukraine. We invest in Ukraine, they get to keep that money. That's a stupid endeavor that is only making the world a more dangerous place here. As, of course, Trump now is looking, according to a lot of his senior officials, looking at changing American foreign policy and shifting from being involved in a European conflict and now shifting towards building up Latin America and its alliances with larger trade deals, with larger partnerships, as, of course, the things that we could do with countries like Argentina, the things that we could do potentially with Brazil, if Brazil changes tune, as, of course, Brazil is now arresting its opposition party. The Brazilian government, by the way, was put in there by Blinken, was put in there by Biden, was put in there by the CIA. That current administration, more favorable towards China, by the way. And that's what the Biden administration pushed for. And now their populist right-wing figures that also had to face assassination attempts on them, they're being thrown in jail right now. So clearly, Biden was changing the sphere of influence towards a more favorable Chinese sphere of influence. Donald Trump looks like he's going to be involved, just like the previous administration was, but now trying to push a lot of other governments to be more aligned with populist, freedom-oriented policies, as, of course, Europe is isolating itself more than ever by doing these kind of weird, cringy dance videos. Yes, that's an official video there by the Norway military there, showing their soy-like TikTok beta behavior, which is really humiliating. And these people are literally dancing on the graves of any kind of essential liberty, freedom, and sovereignty. But you look at what's happening in Europe, especially with their open immigration policies, especially with their policies arresting people for making memes. When you look at their policies of just obliterating personal liberty, it has nothing to do with American core principles and values. Look at these weak, effeminate, low testosterone, globalist conquered betas. Shame. As, of course, look at that. My goodness. Idiots, losers, pathetic punks that are finally now being addressed and told, you're not getting my money anymore. Why am I financing your defense? Why am I spending more on NATO than all of your other countries? I've been telling you guys, stop doing that. I've been telling you guys, stop buying Russian energy. And the German delegation laughed at Donald Trump at the United Nations, as, of course, they got rid of their nuclear reactors. They're getting rid of their personal liberty, their personal freedoms. They openly brag, laugh, and cheer about arresting people for spreading racist memes. You know what? They want to be totalitarian. They want to be dystopian. They want to be destructive. You know what? Maybe we'll work with somebody else that actually respects personal liberty. And that's why J.D. Vance's kind of address, specifically at the Munich conference, was so critically important, because he came to them and he said, look, we have to have shared values here if we're going to be working together. Stop destroying free speech. What did they do? 60 Minutes literally went to Germany, and they had 3 fat cat German bureaucrats, communists, literally, we took people's devices. They're shot. Evil, just laughter and sinisterness that you can't even fathom. But these people get off on it. They're like, yeah. They're edging. Oh, yeah. Take away their freedom. Take away their property. Take away their ability to be free. Get out of here, you freaking dirty communist, you satanic overlord gremlin, like demons. Demon be gone. Let freedom reign. Ron Paul was right. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/Weird Change. Get a freaking t-shirt. Get that Ron Paul t-shirt. Start wearing it. And the people who are real, you're going to walk around. You're like, oh, you like Ron Paul too? I like Ron Paul. Oh, you're old school like I was? Again, I was a big proponent of Ron Paul. 2008. That's the type of friendships that you can't buy. But you can buy them on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more.